What's up, y'all? It's your boy Ryan Coleman, owner operator of Omni Fitness LLC. Today we are outside of HealthSpot, the official supplement provider for our facility, and we're going to be going over a supplement consultation today, and they're going to be kind of giving us some educational value in regards to what these specific supplements provide to you guys. What's going on, boss man?
What's up? What's up?
Man, same old, same old. Good to see you, brother.
Absolutely, man.
So, man, we are really trying to give our community education today, just in regards to some of the myths, some of the misconceptions behind like important things like protein, creatine, multivitamins. And with us having so many people funneling in through here, we think it's important to add like that nutritional value to them, just in terms of like how they can truly benefit from what they may be lacking in their diet, opposed to what you guys have here in the supplement. So,
absolutely. When people decide to go on this journey and they're coming into your place, they got to look at the fundamentals of where they can use supplements. And the idea of supplements is to plug in those holes where they're missing it in the diet. And I think the first thing is just let's be honest with ourselves and say, where are the holes in the diet?
Right.
And like we previously talked about, protein is one of those things where people kind of overestimate how much protein they're getting in. So if we talk about the average person, if they're going to the gym now, they're tearing up those muscles, they got to have enough protein to create that recovery and then either grow that muscle or sustain that muscle. Because typically when people say they want to lose weight, they're talking about fat. They're not talking about muscle, right?
Right.
So we want to pay attention to like, are we maintaining that muscle in the cutting process? Or if they're trying to bulk, are we giving them enough protein to not just repair the muscle, but grow the muscle?
Right.
So when we talk about protein powder, for example, like the isotein or any kind of good isolate protein, and we can dive deep into that, but for most of your clients, I tell them when they're buying a protein, turn it around, look at the ingredients and see what type of protein is it. That's like if you go and buy meat, are you buying ground chuck or are you buying ground sirloin? There's going to be a difference. So when people say I take whey protein, that's like saying I drive a car. Like we need a little more detail here.
Right.
So when we go into what type of protein, the isolate has a lot of the fat, the carbs, the lactose cut off. So even if you have people who are lactose intolerant, an isolate works for 99% of those people as well.
Right.
So once again, take a look at your diet. Let's see what you're missing. Let's plug in some holes. And a lot of the times, if you look at a tub of an isolate protein, you look at it like this is 30 chicken breasts.
Right.
Don't look at it as a supplement. Look at it on your grocery list. You're like, I got 30 chicken breasts on deck ready to go. The benefit of this is you could take 2 scoops of this, get 50 grams of protein, and mix in about 6 ounces. So it's an easy way to supplement to get you to that 0.8 or 1 gram of protein per pound as we're kind of looking at the protein aspect. So this stuff can get really complicated, and there's a lot of marketing in our industry, right?
Right.
So they're not telling you the full truth because they're trying to sell you a product. So you got to learn how to read these labels. Come into HealthSpot, ask my guys questions, set up supplement consultations. But with protein, that's fundamentally an important aspect of it. We talked about multivitamins, and the big thing about multis, in my opinion, is that it's a insurance policy to cover your micronutrients. So everybody talks about macros.
Right.
And I'm paying attention to my protein, my fat, my carbs. What about your micronutrients, right? So when we're kind of lacking in our diet, or we just want to make sure we have all the basics covered, a good solid multivitamin, nothing too crazy. I prefer capsules so they break and absorb really easy versus a tablet. But I would go with a basic multivitamin just as an insurance policy for your micronutrients.
Okay.
Because like I said, I think there's a lack of conversations about micronutrients, a lot of conversations about macronutrients.
Yeah, so in regards to even the macros and the micros, like what would be the major difference between the two?
Well, we talk about macronutrients, we're talking about fats, carbs, and protein. We're talking about micronutrients, we're talking about individual vitamins and minerals that you could be missing based on your diet. And sometimes people tend to eat the same thing on a regular basis, so they're not eating wide enough variety. Like we talked about, if you're doing like eating vegetables and fruits, even in that world, you want to rotate that around so your body gets a variety of different vitamins and minerals. You're not getting the same thing, because then you could be creating a hole that you're not filling because you're not getting that variety in there.
Right.
So just to avoid all that, like if you're traveling or if you're busy, start your day off with your multi, like, okay, I know this isn't a magic pill, but I know it's going to cover all my basic micronutrients.
Right. Okay, so that's something, the multi is something that's going to help them to pretty much cut out, add on to those deficiencies that they may not be getting even within their macros.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like, let's be honest, even if you're eating food now and the same person was eating the same food, let's say, 20 years ago, there's not the same quality of nutrients in that food that there used to be. Like,
right.
The food just doesn't have the nutrient content the food used to have.
Right.
Like unfortunately, the soil and different aspects, you're not getting the same nutrients that you were 50 years ago.
Right.
The same fruits and vegetables.
So what about in regards to the quality of like a multivitamin? How does somebody that knows nothing about multivitamins know like which ones to typically go for?
A couple basics is I don't like multivitamins that are hard tablets, because I feel like I'm always worried about the ability for someone's digestive enzymes to break something down, right? So for me, even though somebody young might not have any issues at all, I'm just covering that base going, I want it to be a capsule that breaks down. I want it to be, it's called GMP. It means that the potency of the product, like what it says on the label is in the product. So I want a GMP multivitamin, I want a capsule vitamin, and I want something that's dosed sufficiently too, right?
Right.
So like this one's a 3 capsule a day, because in my opinion, there's no good one a day, because mathematically you can only put so much into one capsule.
Right.
So you start your day off, take 3, and find the ones that has the right nutrient content for you. So whether you're using one from HealthSpot or not, those are the things I would pay attention to. What's in it? Is it high quality? Am I gonna absorb it? And I think those things are fundamental when it comes to a good multivitamin to cover those micronutrients.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, circling back to the protein, let's say, we got some people who are going more plant-based. So what options do you guys have here to help them to more or less fulfill their protein needs?
Yeah, so absolutely. So you can definitely go with a plant-based multivitamin or plant-based protein, like this is the Fusion 4. We've been selling this formula for a decade. I'm plant-based myself, so this is the one I'm taking 4 scoops of this a day. So once again, it's the same idea. Don't pay attention to the front of the label of any protein. Flip it around, look and see what kind of protein is in there. This uses 4 different types of plant aspects of the protein source. Once again, that variety takes care of making sure you're getting a full amino acid profile.
Right.
So a misnomer in the plant-based community is people saying, is it a complete protein? As in, does it have all your essential amino acids? Well, if you're getting a variety of forms of protein, not just one form, like I'm not just getting my protein from pea protein, I'm getting it from a variety of plant sources, then you're gonna get the full amino acid profile and you'll have what's called a complete protein.
Okay, and then even with amino acids, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. So amino acids are the building blocks to protein. So in any type of like whey-based protein, you'll have a complete amino acid profile, meaning that you'll have all the essential amino acids. What essential amino acids means is it's the amino acids your body cannot produce.
Okay.
If I give you your essential amino acids, your body can produce all the non-essential amino acids.
Right.
In the plant world, some of them might not have all of the amino acids in the right dosages, but it's an easy problem to solve. As long as your plant protein source isn't one protein source, you're not going to have this issue of not having a complete protein amino acid profile. You eat a variety of plants, you'll get your essential amino acid profile. Your body will use those essentials to create any non-essentials that you need.
Okay, so variety is better. And then one of the big stigmas that I typically hear, especially from women, is they don't want to take protein because they don't want to get fat. And as me and you both know, like that obviously isn't the case, but like what's your take in regards to that?
I think it's just one of those myths that are in the industry. And I think people got to be honest with themselves. Let's say I pick up 15 pounds of fat. I'm not blading chicken breast.
Right.
Like, you know what you ate. You know things were off.
Right.
You got to like sit back and be like, I don't know many people who got fat off of chicken breasts. Right. So like, let's look at the fat and the carbs in the diet and break it down and see what's bringing out. Because if it was that easy to gain muscle, there'd be a lot of jack dudes out here. Right. It's not that easy to put muscle on. So the misnomers, I just tell people, if you think it's that easy just to eat protein and gain muscle, how come all these guys out here aren't jacked? It just doesn't work that way. It's very hard. You know?
And even so, like speaking of the guys that are jacked, so for, let's say I got somebody that's having a little bit more trouble with putting on size or lean muscle mass and even their endurance, like what would be something good that you guys have for that?
A great option would be creatine. So creatine is, okay, I've been doing the supplement game since 1993. Our first store was on Lafayette Road. 93. So I remember when creatine came out in the mid 90s. The debate is over. Anybody who says creatine doesn't work they haven't read a study. So forget everybody's opinion. Go to PubMed, type in creatine, read a bunch of studies on creatine. Creatine in the monohydrate form, which is also the most cost-effective form, 100% works. So minus some weird situation where you're sensitive to creatine, 99% of people who take creatine monohydrate, take a scoop of this a day, are going to see significant results when it comes to strength, when it comes to lean muscle. And now the studies are saying mental cognition. So I'm going to be honest, like the majority of people walking in this door, unless they're a child, I'm putting them on creatine. If there's a 60-year-old lady that comes in here who cares about her health, I'm putting her on creatine monohydrate. Because the studies are coming out saying this is not just for people who care about athletic performance. It's actually tied to mental cognition. So being cost effective, being extremely well studied, the debate's over. The majority of people need to be on creatine monohydrate. I absolutely put it in my top 3 supplements that majority of people should take. Same thing with protein powder, because most people, if you actually track your macros, are missing that protein aspect. So I put it right up there as the top of what people need.
So with the creatine, like, now, is this something that you would only recommend, obviously, to somebody who's like doing some type of active workout programming, or like where would you say is the boundaries within that?
I'm at the point now where I recommend creatine to every single person walking in.
Whether they're active
or not, because I think the mental aspects are becoming a factor too. So in the last 12 months, you're seeing studies saying, does creatine monohydrate help your mental capacity as well? And they're right there in that aspect too. And even if somebody wants to, like someone wants to lean out, like we talked about before, they don't want to lose weight, they want to lose fat. So they still care about toning, which means I still care about their muscle mass while they're bringing down that fat. So creatine I'm going to put in there too, and they're going to see really good results.
Okay.
Yep.
No, that makes...
I have rarely ever seen a customer that I don't put on, if I put them on creatine, multivitamin, and protein, and especially if they're new to the fitness industry, haven't done anything, in 12 weeks they're seeing results. If you've never taken creatine or protein, I put you on creatine or protein and you run it for 12 weeks, assuming, let's be honest, your diet's on point, your workout's on point. All 3 of those pillars need to be there. The workouts, the diet, the supplementation. I can't even recall a time someone hasn't seen results. Now you can't come into a supplement store, buy products, and go sit on a couch and be upset about the results. But if you dial in all 3 of those aspects, you're going to see results. And typically customers are seeing results in a few weeks. And if you're not seeing results in a few weeks, look at those aspects. Is it my diet? Is it my workouts? Is it my supplementation? Is there some part that I'm missing? But let me get clear, there's no magic pill. But this combined with those 2 other pillars, I mean, it just works.
It's hard to beat it. Now, some things I've heard about is that true, or does that kind of depend on the creatine, or what?
I mean, most of my clients, I like to cycle them off occasionally, not because I'm worried about anything. I just think it's good to cycle off some supplementations occasionly.
And what would be that range?
I put them on 12 weeks for sure and I might put them off for 2 weeks after that 12 weeks. Now, once again, minus somebody having an adverse reaction, like I said, is very rare. They're gonna feel great off of it. The studies are typically done in 12 weeks. You also might have heard about people loading on creatine. I don't believe in that either.
It's like taking double the amount for like the first week. Right.
There's no need. If you take 5 grams, the average person, if you take 5 grams a day, you're gonna reach that muscle saturation, and it's gonna be just fine taking 5 grams a day. You can add it, and timing is irrelevant. It doesn't matter if you take creatine pre-workout, post-workout, nighttime. It doesn't matter. It's gonna saturate your muscles. You could throw it in with your protein. You could throw it in with a pre-workout. You can just take it straight, whatever you want to do. I just think that it just works. It's just being consistent on it. You don't take it on just your workout days. You take it every day.
Okay. Now, like for me, using me as an example here. So I've been transitioning more into that whole food plant-based diet. And I think that a lot of my clients have been wanting to do the same, but a lot of their big things have been like just making sure they're able to get in like their proper nutrients. And with you kind of being someone who's got a good knowledge on that, as you do follow it yourself, like what are some recommendations to those who maybe even like me that are just in that transition period, or people who are just trying to kind of transition over like cold turkey in general?
Yeah, I tell people, first of all, don't do it. Don't do it unless you're willing to do research. If you do research, then something you can look at. I have some people that just jump into these diets without doing the research ahead of time. My vote is always no.
Right.
So let's do the research so we can figure out what theoretically could you be missing when you decide to try out a new diet. And I don't care if it's keto, vegan, plant-based, it doesn't matter. But in that world, I think the things in the plant-based world that I see missing a lot are definitely going to be something like omega. So if you're going to go plant-based, I highly recommend, and I've been doing this for a long time now, chia or flax to give yourself omegas. But the omega-3 that you're specifically going to miss, even if you're doing chia and omega, is going to be DHA. So a great source that's plant-based is going to be algae omega. This uses a trademarked Life Omega, which is an algae-based DHA product, omega-3 product. If you're not eating fish, you're typically not going to get high enough DHA. Now, your body can take the other omega-3s and make a little DHA. It's not very efficient, and DHA is fundamental for brain health.
Right.
So I love DHA. This is a great plant-based one. Even people who I ask customers all the time, do you take fish oil? And they say, yeah. I'm like, well, what kind of fish? And their answer is like, I don't know, it just says fish oil. I'm like, you would never let that fly in any other part of your life. You never go sit at a high-end restaurant and be like, can I get some fish? No. You're going to say, can I get salmon? You're going to know what kind of fish based on what you're getting. But in the fish oil world, you buy a bottle, it just says fish oil. Right. You don't even turn around to look at what kind of fish it is. You would never let that fly in any other part of your life. So if you're going to use a fish-based fish oil or omega product, you need to know a lot of research on where that fish was, what situation, could there be heavy metals, what's going on with that fish. Okay. Or you can just skip the fish, which I'm a big fan of, go to algae, and then you can get your omegas where the fish are getting it by concentrating the omegas in algae, and then still be able to achieve that DHA.
So now, to confirm, like there's no fish at all from there. Okay.
This is, not only is it algae omega, it's trademarked algae omega from Life Omega. So you can go to Life Omega's websites and look at the studies they've done on their trademarked ingredient. And still staying on the topic of being plant-based, you should start tracking your protein to see what kind of protein you're getting in. Are you getting enough protein in your diet? And like we previously talked about, there are plant-based options if you're not getting enough protein in your diet. Like I'm all about hacking the system. Right. You don't need to be a plant-based person like they had 50 years ago. Like use the technology they have now to plug in those holes to optimize your health and optimize your performance. Right. So the top 3 is going to be a plant-based protein, something like the omegas. And then I probably would definitely add some like B12. This is B12, so this is a combination of beet powder along with methylcobalamin B12, which is just a high quality B12 product. Tastes good. It's a great way to make sure you're getting in B12. But in the order of importance, I would definitely say pay attention to your protein, get in your omegas, pay attention to your B12, and obviously creatine I think is still in the mix.
And then for, also one thing that I definitely wanted to touch on is the fact that we have a lot of people who may kind of be opposed to taking so many different supplements, because they kind of put supplements and medication in the same class. But when it comes to supplementation and medication, where are those primary differences there?
I mean, when you're looking at supplements, they're typically going to be from a food source. So 2 different worlds completely, right? So we're not making something that's, you think about whey protein is just a byproduct of them making cheese. So there's a direct correlation with the amount of whey protein that's available on the amount of cheese that they make. Right. So this is not going to be in the medication world, but supplementations are just what we talked about. They're there to plug in those holes of what you're missing in your diet. Right. So when you're looking at what supplements I should take, it should be based on what you're actually missing. Right. Now, some of the, like we said, those top 3, protein, creatine, and multivitamin, those are ones we see work for 90% of the people, where there's holes, there's an opportunity where they can add something that makes sense.
Right.
Now, if you're like, I don't want to take supplements, there are ways where you can do something in your diet where you can try to eat those grams of protein with your diet. We've just seen consistently where it's very tough to get
all that.
And now with even the cost of meat and the cost of chicken, like it's not a cost difference as much as you're seeing before. It's really a compliance. Like, what does your diet really look like?
Right.
And if I have a customer who says, I want to eat all my nutrients, I'm going to help them eat all their nutrients. They might not need a supplement.
Right.
Just based on our experience, that's a rare situation.
So it's pretty much, if you're able to, get everything that you need from a nutritional standpoint within a whole food diet, whether that's as meat, plant-based, whatever the case may be, you don't necessarily need as much supplementation.
100%. That's just a rare person, but correct.
Right. So the typical person,
Yes.
has all these gaps within, their nutrients and all of that. Is there a limit on the amount of supplements they could take at one time?
I mean, you shouldn't be doubling up on the same
supplement.
supplements, right? But based on your situation, what are you taking? Like, my supplement routine is a lot of pills, but I'm using them for specific purposes, and I'm making sure I don't double up. So I love ashwagandha. I love my omega. I take a natural testosterone booster. I take a creatine. I take a fruits and greens. So for me, I love supplements, obviously, but I'm making sure every one of those, there's a reason I'm taking them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking them because I saw some TikTok that says I need to take them. There's got to be some validation, some reason for doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody who wants to get it, like I said, all from food, and you don't need those, and I have people come in here, they use our InBody machine, we sell a ton of meals, they get some meals from us, they're good, but it's such a small amount of people. It's like that person who's like, their metabolism allows them to eat whatever. There are people that exist like that, but let's be honest, they're few and far between.
Yeah. So, and then just to kind of to wrap up on that, I know you just mentioned the InBody. So for anybody within our community that is looking to come in here for InBody assessment, supplement consultation, what can they kind of expect within that?
I'm really proud of our team, because in 2020, when we first met, that was the big push, was to buy these medical devices, these InBody machines, and put them in all of our stores and never charge anybody for them, because they're able to track how much muscle, how much fat, how much total weight, what is your what is your calorie burn at resting, how much muscle you have per segment, per arms and per legs. And that's a great gauge, because we want to show people that supplementation works.
Right.
So let's get a baseline. Let's get you on some supplements. Come back in here a month and let's see what's going on. So the InBody machine is definitely a great asset. I definitely tell people to work with our team so they know how to read the InBody, how to analyze the InBody machine, and when they see numbers not looking the way they need to, what are some strategies? And it's not just about supplements. A lot of times, like the workout or the diet, that we can tweak so they can see the results they want to see on the InBody. Okay.
And I know we're obviously up here at the Fishers location, but you guys have a few more locations, right? Where's that at?
So we're here in Fishers, we're in Avon, and we're in Greenwood as well.
Okay. And if someone was looking to, let's say, get directly in touch with somebody within your team, how can they do so?
You can message us on Instagram. You can, if you're obviously any of your clients can contact me directly, and then I can make sure they get either with myself or somebody on my team to help them get on the InBody machine, analyze those results, and help them teach them a little bit about what's going on.
Okay. And then lastly, Omni Fitness, one of our big things is, transformation. So, we're firm in, assisting people to get the understanding that, fitness is more of a lifestyle than just something that I lose 20 pounds just for vacation. So what is one bit of advice that you would have to those new individuals that are kind of seeking that transformation?
Start now and do the research. And the reason why I'm always like, listen, be honest with yourself that you need to start now, because when people look at themselves like, I want to get healthier, what are you waiting for? It's not going to be easier 5 years from now.
Right.
It's not going to go away 5 years from now. Like, if you are in a state where you feel like you need to be healthier, there's no option to delay it. It's only going to get tougher.
Right.
So surround yourself with a community of like-minded people who want to see you succeed and give you advice, and they also are trying to get better, because it makes it easier. Whether it's coming into a store and talking to my team, obviously your team and your transformation, Surround yourself with those people, because we all get weak. We all have these moments. And I tell people, like with the InBody, do it in the good times and the bad, because that's human nature. You might fall off, get back on track.
Right.
But when it comes to making a transformation, where I've seen it stick the most is surrounding yourself with some people who also are trying to transform themselves or support a healthy lifestyle. And even if it's a different type of diet, it's really trying to be consistent on that lifestyle. And for God's sake, we got to start minimizing this processed food.
Right.
And I think that will drastically change so many people's lives if they start paying attention to eliminating processed food out of their diet and cook. Like, get in that kitchen and cook. I don't care if you are like, I want to eat meat. I want to go plant-based. I want to go keto. I don't care. Cook. Like,
right.
Eat the raw ingredients. And I think that would be, if I had one message to give everybody, is like, cut back on the processed food. Don't be lazy. Get in the kitchen. Cook it from as raw of ingredients as you can, and surround yourself with people who want to bring you up.
That's a fact. Take action now. That's it. Well, I appreciate you, man,
Always.
for all the advice.
Yep.
Definitely for you guys who haven't been into HealthSpot, pop in today. His team, Amber's team, is awesome. He's awesome. All the guys are super knowledgeable, and I guarantee that you're gonna come in here and leave out with 1,000 bits of information that you didn't have before. So let's just continue to work to build together, to break down those stigmas, and really push for those lifestyle transformations, as that's what's going to help us to sustain, surpass, succeed. Bam.